Hey everybody, this is Casey Magic Swell with Art of Divine Touch and the Muse Effect. It is a rainy, cloudy day out here, and the air feels fresh and clean, and I got really excited to make a video. This is my 77th video, and I've had a lot of requests for this video in particular. This video is about perspectives around intimacy. And I've been really intrigued by the amount of requests and questions I've had around sharing my own perspectives on a very misread and misunderstood emotion and expression that we feel in our everyday reality for ourselves, for others, from others. I want to break it down into a couple different sections here to talk about, because I've spent the last 4 months really going past thinking about intimacy and delving into learning about it from others and watching how other people interact and express intimacy in their own way, and how that interaction and that observation has really allowed me to gain my own perspectives, a little more insight around how I'm seeing people's perceptions around intimacy and how they interact with each other or their environment. So intimacy happens on an emotional, physical, and spiritual plane of existence within ourselves and with others. Many people have only seen intimacy as something in a physical expression, being that it has a stereotype of a sexual agenda. Now, from an emotional and soulful perspective, outside of, say, body language, one of the first things that we point out about intimacy with others is eye contact. So we have our first things of intimacy is emotional, physical, and spiritual. And my first key point here is talking about intimacy with others from a perspective of eye contact. Now, we've all heard that eyes are the windows to the soul, and we fail to interact more deeply with others through eye contact because we start to feel this level of intimacy. Now, this level of intimacy is easily misread by people because we've always perceived it as something within a limitation of a sexual agenda, that we don't allow ourselves to deeply connect with others past a certain point. And that comes with making eye contact with others. Making eye contact with others should first and foremost be out of respect and come from a place of no fear of deeply connecting with someone. Because when you look someone in the eyes, not only do you tap into a part of their being that is the essence of who they are in a deep, spiritual, soulful way, but you tap into all of them, all the other parts as well. Now, we're all empathetic and psychic and sensitive beings. We all have a soul. We all feel and radiate things on an energetic level. And with that being said, we instinctually and subconsciously, I feel, have stopped looking others in the eye so much to protect ourselves. So we don't feel overwhelmed by their pain and their trauma on top of ours because of this source connection that we all have. We feel things from others so deeply, let alone ourselves. This natural instinct to want to protect ourselves from not deeply connecting with others past a certain point has caused blocks in the way that we also perceive expressions like intimacy, because intimacy goes past that physical boundary, because you can be intimate with yourself and others from simply communicating with them in a deep, genuine, and authentic way. And part of a reason this is very misunderstood is because everybody's love language is different. How people express themselves in a level of intimacy is different based on those walls they've put up, those walls they've taken down, or coping mechanisms they've choose over a period of time, or this level of conditioning that they have from others, that maybe it is just kind of imprinted, the perspectives that they have around intimacy, whether it is a religion conditioning or parental conditioning or your own conditioning from traumatic experience. If we got to a place where we had no fear to deeply connect with others by looking them in the eye, or by expressing simple kindness through holding hands and giving hugs to ensure that emotional connection with them in this physical plane of existence without assuming that there is an agenda there that is not, will allow us to match each other's vibrations more in understanding and in compassion. Because so many of us have a different love language, there's a part of our vibrational bodies that are not always going to match with other people, but that could easily be misread by other people. And being consciously aware through an empathetic or sensitive way of how others may be feeling or where they are at what time and place in their life can give you clarity around how to approach people in your level of intimacy and the level of deep soulful connection and heartfelt intimate connection that you make with others. Going from making eye contact and deeply connecting with others through body language and expression, we then go into this second perspective around how we intimately connect with our environment. And when talking about the environment, we then therefore are talking about nature, places in the world, specific places we go, whether it's a home or town or a restaurant, but also with groups of people, any and every type of environment. To intimately connect with your environment is sensing things from an intuitive and soulful and a psychic perspective in a different way. The same way you feel out a room when you walk into a crowd, to get an idea of how you should socially interact or express or communicate with others. You instinctually tap in. We all instinctually tap into that environment in an intimate way to feel and understand the feeling of how to approach our next steps and how we interact within that environment. With that being said, this also comes from a place of body language and eye contact if people are within that environment. If not, and you're secluded and in nature, you're connecting with your environment in an intimate way that is past being distracted by the emotions of others and allows you to gain the clarity that you need to reflect on your own level of intimacy within yourself, which is where we come down to the third perspective, which is intimacy with yourself in an emotional, physical, and spiritual way. And the reason I say you last, or putting us at the end in section 3 here instead of number 1, is because you need to gain the perspectives around how you perceive interacting with others and your environment to give you hints and clues on how there may be blocks or things built up within your own emotional and spiritual body that can teach you about rewriting your own stories to perceive yourself differently and how you communicate and interact with yourself on a deep soul level about your own personal growth. When you can make observations around other people and your environment and how you interact with them and become aware of those interactions, whether there is too much intimacy or a lack thereof, you'll be able to understand yourself in a deeper way and be able to do the deep reflection, the analysis, or the overthinking process, or the healing process, or the meditation, whatever it is that you need to gain that insight and clarity around deeply loving yourself in a way that you're not afraid to be intimate, that you find the balance between this masculine and feminine energy within you that brings about this clarity of how we connect with ourselves and with others and with the space around us. Because not only are we souls within a temple, within a body, but we're also souls within temples moving around on a giant cellular soul that is its own temple. And intimacy, first and foremost, should come from a place of respect for yourself and for others to connect with people in a deep, emotional, and genuine way without assuming that there is a stereotype of a sexual agenda. Now, if we weren't afraid to feel all the feels and be deep with ourselves and deep with others, with understanding and with compassion and with nurturance, we would see the deeper connections that we have karmically with others, how we tie in relationships in our lives through blood family, through chosen family, through partnerships, through business agreements, however we interact with this space and with each other could come from a much more appropriate place of appreciation for one another, without expectation, without limitations, and without judgment, because we're not afraid to be intimate with one another on an emotional and spiritual level. And knowing that when we find those right connections, we will therefore choose to be intimate with others in a physical way if it feels right to us on a soul level and appropriate. I feel that I have so much more insight around this based on some of the questions that I've received in the past, and I really want to go deeper with it, and you all have inspired me by reaching out and by commenting, so please continue to do that if you have any questions or comments around this specific video, with being intimate, with getting your eye contact in with others, with not being afraid to deeply connect, therefore you can deeply connect with yourself and learn about yourself more. We can evolve and grow together in a much more positive and enlightened way without all those restrictions and limitation and judgments of how things will be perceived if we just come at each other with a little bit more understanding and a little bit more intimacy. So with that, please feel free to reach out. This has been a bright new year, full of change, full of transition, full of excitement. And I'm really looking forward to everything that this year is bringing, and I'm sending you all blessings and the best wishes that this will be a transformational year for all of you. I can feel the buzz in the planet, I can feel the buzz from the stars above, and I'm feeling very blessed. So thank you. Until next time.